When God uses a cat to protect you, the spiritual secret. What if I told you that your cat didn't come into your life by accident? That the moment they appeared, whether you found them or they found you, was orchestrated by a hand far greater than chance? By the end of this video, you'll understand how God uses cats as instruments of protection, and you'll recognize the signs you've been seeing all along. If you enjoy meaningful stories and spiritual insights about cats, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. The moment. Heaven intervened. Think back to the day your cat entered your life. Do you remember it? The circumstances? What you were going through at that time? Maybe you weren't even looking for a cat. Maybe you had said, "Not now, I'm not ready." But then something happened. A friend called. A shelter posted a photo. You walked past a box on the street, and there they were, looking at you with eyes that seemed to say, "I've been waiting for you." And something in your heart shifted. Something you couldn't explain made you say yes. That wasn't coincidence. That was divine intervention. Because God doesn't just work through burning bushes and dramatic miracles. Sometimes, He works through soft paws and gentle purrs. Sometimes, He sends protection in the form of a creature so small, so unassuming, that we almost miss the miracle entirely. Let me share a story with you. A true story that still gives me chills. A woman named Sarah was going through the darkest period of her life. She had just lost her job, her marriage was falling apart, and she was battling thoughts she didn't want to admit to anyone. One night, she sat alone in her apartment, feeling like she had nothing left to hold on to. The next morning, as she walked to her car, she heard a sound, a tiny, insistent meow. She looked down and saw a scrawny orange kitten sitting by her tire. No collar, no sign of where it came from. Just sitting there, looking up at her with huge, hopeful eyes. Sarah had never wanted a cat. She didn't even like cats. But something inside her whispered, "Take him home." She named him Charlie, and from that day forward, everything changed. Charlie never left her side. When she cried, he climbed onto her chest and purred. When she couldn't get out of bed, he'd nudge her face until she did. When the thoughts became too dark, he'd meow loudly, pulling her back from the edge. Sarah told me years later with tears in her eyes, "I know God sent him. Because if Charlie hadn't shown up that morning, I don't think I'd be here today." That's not a coincidence. That's a guardian. That's divine protection wrapped in fur. Throughout history, God has used animals to protect, provide, and guide His people. In the Bible, ravens brought food to the prophet Elijah when he was starving in the wilderness. A great fish saved Jonah from drowning. A donkey spoke to warn Balaam of danger. Even the Holy Spirit appeared as a dove. God doesn't need our permission to work through His creation. He made every creature with purpose. And cats? Cats were designed with something unique, a sensitivity, a vigilance, a quiet strength that makes them perfect instruments of protection. They see what we don't see. They hear what we don't hear. They sense danger before it arrives. And when God wants to send a guardian who won't frighten you, who won't overwhelm you, but will simply stay close and watch over you, He sends a cat. Have you ever noticed how your cat positions themselves between you and the door when a stranger comes to visit? How they sit at the foot of your bed at night, watching, listening, alert. How they react to certain people with distrust, even when those people seem perfectly nice to you. Only for you to discover later that your cat was right? That's not paranoia. That's discernment. That's the gift God placed within them. Cats have prevented fires by waking their owners when smoke detectors failed. They've detected gas leaks before anyone else noticed. They've alerted families to intruders. They've physically blocked their humans from walking into danger. There are documented cases, real, verified stories, of cats saving lives in ways that defy explanation. But here's what moves me most. They don't ask for recognition. They don't demand applause. They simply do what they were sent to do. They protect, they watch, they guard, just like God asked them to. So let me ask you, and I truly want to hear from you in the comments. I read every single one. When did your cat come into your life? What were you going through at that time? Have you ever felt deep down that they were sent to you for a reason? Because I believe they were. I believe that God knew exactly what you needed, exactly when you needed it. And He sent you a protector, not in shining armor, not with trumpets and fanfare, but with whiskers, paws, and a heart full of quiet, faithful love. Your cat is not just your pet. They are your guardian, appointed by God, placed in your life with purpose, watching over you in ways you may never fully understand, but can always feel. And here's what you need to know before we go any further. The protection your cat offers isn't limited to what you can see, because there are dangers in this world that go beyond the physical. There are battles happening in places you can't perceive, attacks coming from dimensions you don't even know exist. And your cat? They stand guard there too. In the space between the seen and the unseen, your cat is watching, protecting, fighting battles on your behalf that you'll never witness. And once you understand how deep that protection goes, you'll never look at your cat the same way again. There's a kind of exhaustion that sleep can't fix. You know the feeling. When you wake up already tired. When anxiety sits on your chest like a weight you can't name. When you walk into a room and feel heavy, oppressed, like something invisible is draining the life out of you. You tell yourself it's stress, it's work, it's life. But deep down, you sense there's something more, something you can't see, something attacking you in ways you don't understand. And that's when your cat does something strange. They position themselves between you and the door. They stare at a corner of the room with their fur standing up. They refuse to leave your side, even when you try to move them. They meow insistently, as if warning you of something you can't perceive. You think it's odd behavior, but what if it's not odd at all? What if it's protection? What if God is using your cat to shield you from a battle you don't even know you're in? The war you cannot see. The Bible tells us in Ephesians 6:12, our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. There is a war happening, not with guns or swords, but with influences, with oppression, with attacks on your peace, your mind, your spirit. Darkness doesn't always announce itself. It creeps in quietly, through fear, through despair, through that voice in your head that tells you you're worthless, unloved, or alone. And while we can't always perceive these attacks, there are creatures who can. Creatures who were created with senses that reach beyond the physical. Creatures who can detect what we cannot see. Your cat is one of them. Let me tell you about a man named David. He had recently moved into a new apartment. From the first night, something felt wrong. He couldn't sleep. He felt watched. He woke up with nightmares he couldn't remember, only the dread they left behind. His cat, Shadow, a black cat he'd had for years, began acting strangely. Every night, Shadow would sit at the bedroom door, facing outward, completely still. Eyes wide, ears back. Occasionally, he would hiss at nothing. David thought maybe there were sounds he couldn't hear, rodents in the walls, something logical. But then one night, he woke up to find Shadow sitting on his chest, staring directly at the doorway, growling low and deep. And in that moment, David felt it. A presence, dark, oppressive, malevolent. But then Shadow did something extraordinary. He arched his back, fluffed his tail to twice its size, and let out a sound David had never heard before, a fierce, protective yowl that seemed to fill the entire room. And just like that, the feeling was gone. The heaviness lifted. The room felt lighter, peaceful. David whispered, "Thank you, Shadow." And Shadow, satisfied, curled up beside him and began to purr. This isn't superstition. This isn't fantasy. This is spiritual reality. Cats have been recognized across cultures and throughout history as creatures who can perceive the unseen. In ancient Egypt, they were believed to ward off evil spirits. In Japanese folklore, they were said to protect homes from malevolent forces. In European tradition, they were companions to healers and mystics who understood the invisible world. Why? Because they can sense it. They can feel shifts in energy, in frequency, in the spiritual atmosphere of a space. And when something dark tries to enter, when oppression tries to settle over you, your cat responds. They position themselves as a barrier. They refuse to let it through. They use their presence, their sound, even their purr as a vibrational shield that disrupts and dispels negativity. The purr. Let's talk about that for a moment. When your cat purrs, they create vibrations at a frequency between 25 and 150 hertz. Scientists have discovered that these frequencies promote healing. They reduce stress, lower anxiety, and even help repair tissue. But there's something else. These frequencies create a field of calm, a resonance of peace. And when your cat purrs beside you, especially during moments of fear or distress, they're not just comforting you. They're creating a protective vibration around you, a shield of frequency that darkness cannot penetrate. This is why your cat often purrs when you're anxious, why they sit on your chest when you're having a panic attack, why they press against you when you feel overwhelmed. They're not just being affectionate, they're protecting you. They're using the gift God gave them to guard your spirit. So let me ask you, and please share this in the comments because I want to hear your story. Have you ever felt your cat protecting you from something you couldn't see? Have you ever noticed them reacting to a presence or an energy that made you uncomfortable? Have you felt peace return to a room after your cat entered it? Because if you have, you weren't imagining it. That was real. That was your cat fulfilling the mission God gave them. That was divine protection, working through a creature so small, yet so powerful. Your cat doesn't fight these battles because they're brave. They fight them because God appointed them to. Because when He placed them in your life, He gave them authority to stand guard, to watch over you, to be a shield between you and the forces that seek to harm you. And they do it faithfully, quietly, without asking for anything in return. That's not just loyalty. That's divine purpose. But there's something even more intimate happening. Because God doesn't just use your cat to protect you from what's outside. There's something they do that reaches into the deepest, most wounded parts of your soul. Something that heals what you thought was broken beyond repair. And it begins with a touch you've felt 1,000 times, but never truly understood. There are wounds that no doctor can see. Wounds that don't show up on X-rays or blood tests. Wounds carved by loss, by betrayal, by loneliness, by words that cut deeper than any blade. Wounds that make you feel like you're breaking from the inside out, even when you're smiling on the outside. These are the wounds of the soul, and they're the hardest to heal. But God sees them. He sees every scar you carry, every tear you've cried in secret, every night you've laid awake wondering if the pain will ever end. And sometimes, when words aren't enough, when prayers feel distant, when you need something tangible to remind you that you're not alone, God sends comfort in the form of soft paws and a gentle purr. He sends a healer, and that healer is your cat. When heaven touches earth, let me tell you about a woman named Grace. She had been battling depression for years. Some days were manageable. Other days, she could barely get out of bed. She felt like she was drowning in darkness, and no matter how hard she tried, she couldn't find the surface. One particularly difficult night, she sat on her bathroom floor, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. She felt utterly alone, abandoned, like even God had forgotten her. And then, through her tears, she felt something warm press against her leg. Her cat, Lily, a small calico who usually kept to herself, had come into the bathroom. She climbed into Grace's lap, looked up at her with those knowing eyes, and began to purr. Not a quiet purr, a deep, rumbling, vibrating purr that Grace could feel in her chest. And somehow, in that moment, surrounded by that sound, that warmth, that unconditional presence, Grace felt something she hadn't felt in months. Hope. She wasn't fixed. The depression didn't disappear, but she wasn't alone. And in that moment, that was enough. Grace told me later, "I believe God sent Lily to remind me that I'm loved, that I'm seen, that even in my darkest moment, I'm not forgotten." This is what God does. He meets us in our brokenness, not with judgment, not with lectures, but with comfort, with presence, with love that doesn't require us to be anything other than what we are. The Bible says in Psalm 34:18, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." And sometimes He expresses that closeness through a creature who doesn't ask questions, doesn't demand explanations, but simply stays, simply loves, simply reminds you with every purr, every nudge, every gentle headbutt that you matter. Science has tried to explain why cats have such a profound effect on our emotional well-being. Studies show that spending time with a cat reduces cortisol, the stress hormone, that petting a cat releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone, that the frequency of a cat's purr can stimulate the production of serotonin and dopamine, the chemicals in our brain that regulate mood and happiness. But here's what science can't explain. Why would God create a creature with these exact abilities? Why would He design an animal whose very presence calms anxiety, whose purr heals not just the body, but the spirit, whose eyes seem to look straight into your soul and say, "You're going to be okay"? Because God is intentional. He doesn't create by accident. Every detail, every design, every purpose is woven with love. He knew we would struggle. He knew we would hurt. He knew there would be nights when we'd need more than words. Nights when we'd need to feel something warm, something alive, something that loves us without condition. So He created cats, not just as companions, but as healers, as instruments of His comfort, as tangible reminders that we are never, ever alone. Your cat doesn't judge you for your tears. They don't ask you to explain yourself. They don't require you to be strong or put together. They simply come to you. They climb into your lap, rest their head against your heart, and purr. And in that purr, in that warmth, in that presence, you feel it. A whisper from heaven. A reminder that you are loved, that you are seen, that even in your pain, you are held. This is not coincidence. This is divine design. This is God using your cat to heal the wounds that only He can see. So let me ask you, and I hope you'll share your story in the comments. Has your cat ever comforted you in a moment of deep pain? Have they ever appeared right when you needed them most, as if they knew? Have you ever felt in their presence that you were being held by something greater? Because you were. You are. Right now, as you watch this, if your cat is beside you, God is using them to remind you, you are not alone, you are loved, and you are going to make it through. Your cat's love is a reflection of God's love, unconditional, patient, always present, never giving up on you, even when you've given up on yourself. And that love, that healing presence, it's a gift, a sacred gift, one that God placed in your life with perfect timing and perfect purpose. But there's one more truth I need to share with you, one final revelation about why your cat is in your life. Because it's not just about protection. It's not just about healing. There's a reason, an eternal reason, why you and your cat found each other. A divine appointment that was written long before you ever met. And once you understand it, everything will make sense. There's a question that quietly lives in the hearts of those who love their cats deeply. It's a question we sometimes ask in whispers, late at night, when we're holding them close and feeling the weight of how much they mean to us. The question is this: why you? Out of all the cats in the world, why did I find you? Or, why did you find me? And today, I want to give you the answer. Not from science, not from chance, but from the heart of God Himself. Because the truth is this: your meeting was a divine appointment. Nothing happens by accident. Proverbs 16:9 says, "In their hearts humans plan their course, but the Lord establishes their steps." Every step you take, every turn you make, every decision that feels random or spontaneous, God is in it, guiding, directing, orchestrating moments that will change your life in ways you can't yet see. And that includes the moment you met your cat. You might have thought you chose them. You walked into a shelter. You scrolled through adoption photos online. You heard a meow from under a car, and you made a decision. But what if, all along, God was guiding your steps toward that exact moment? What if that shelter visit wasn't random? What if that photo appeared on your screen at the exact time you needed to see it? What if that meow under the car was a divine summons? What if you didn't choose your cat at all? What if God chose them for you? Let me tell you about a man named Michael. He had been praying for months, not for a cat, for direction, for purpose, for a sign that God still saw him, still cared about his life. One afternoon, he stopped at a gas station. As he walked back to his car, he noticed a small carrier sitting by the dumpster. Inside was a single kitten, gray, skinny, shivering. There was a note taped to the carrier. "I can't keep him. Please give him a home." Michael looked at that kitten, and the kitten looked back at him with eyes that seemed far too wise for something so small. And in that moment, Michael felt it, a whisper in his spirit. "This is your answer." He took the kitten home, named him Elijah, after the prophet who was fed by ravens, provided for by God in the wilderness. And from that day forward, Michael's life changed, not in dramatic ways, but in quiet, profound ways. Elijah gave him purpose, routine, companionship, a reason to come home, a reason to keep going. Michael told me later, "I asked God for a sign, and He gave me a cat, and that cat saved my life." God doesn't do anything without purpose. He doesn't place people or animals in your life randomly. There's always a reason, always a lesson, always a mission. Your cat was sent to you because you needed them. But here's the part we often forget. They needed you too. Maybe your cat was abandoned. Maybe they were abused. Maybe they were scared, alone, waiting in a cage, wondering if anyone would ever see them. And then you came. You opened the door. You reached out your hand. You said, "I choose you." And in that moment, you became the answer to their prayer too. God didn't just send your cat to protect you, to heal you, to comfort you. He also sent you to love them, to give them safety, to show them that not all humans are cruel, that home is real, that love exists. You are their guardian too, their healer, their protector. This is a partnership, a sacred bond designed by God for mutual blessing. And that's the beauty of it. That's the divine design. You save each other. Now, I know some of you are thinking about the day that will come, the day when your time together on this earth ends, and your heart aches at the thought. Let me offer you this comfort. God is the author of love. He created it. He sustains it. And the Bible tells us in 1 Corinthians 13:8, love never fails. Love never ends. If God brought you and your cat together with such intentionality, with such purpose, do you really think that bond ends the moment their body stops breathing? Do you think the God who knit your souls together in this life would tear them apart in the next? I can't give you all the answers. No one can. But I can tell you this: the God who loves you enough to send you a protector, a healer, a companion in the form of a cat, that same God does not forget. He does not abandon, and He honors love. So trust Him. Trust that whatever comes next, the love you share with your cat is held in His hands, and nothing held in His hands is ever lost. So let me ask you one final time. And I truly hope you'll share this with me in the comments. When did your cat come into your life? What were you going through? And do you believe, deep in your heart, that God sent them to you? Because I believe He did. I believe every single person watching this was guided to their cat by a loving God who saw what you needed and provided it. Not with fanfare, not with announcements, but with quiet, faithful, furry love. Your cat is not an accident. They are a gift. A prayer answered, a guardian appointed, a healer sent, a divine appointment orchestrated by the God who knows you, loves you, and walks with you every single day. So the next time you look at your cat, remember, you're not just looking at a pet. You're looking at a miracle, a living reminder that God sees you, that He cares, and that He will never, ever leave you alone. If this message touched your heart, if it helped you see God's hand in your life through your cat, I would be so honored if you'd subscribe to this channel. There are more truths to discover, more stories to share, and I'd be grateful to walk this journey with you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for loving the way you do. And may you and your cat continue to walk together under God's protection, wrapped in His love, fulfilling the purpose you were both created for. Until we meet again, be blessed.